show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Hey, what's up, people out there in real estate land? This is Anthony with the Hive Mind. This is another episode of the Hive With Us podcast. Today we have an amazing guest. I think as these shows continue to go on, the guests just keep on getting more and more intense and amazing. So I'm excited about today's. It took us a little while to get this gentleman on the show, but I'm sure he has lots to share. I think where our real estate career and our business career is headed, you're going to eventually need to learn what this gentleman knows along the way, and something that he's taken a big part in. So, yeah, I want to introduce everybody to Mr. Tim Mai.
Yeah, well, hey, everybody. Hey, Anthony.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thank you for being on here, man. And one thing I wanted to do is tell you thank you, too, for always being there whenever I would have you look at stuff and ask for some advice. You were always there to provide support, man. So that means a lot. A lot of people, they make themselves unavailable on purpose, which I can respect. But, yeah, you've done a lot for us, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome. Always glad to help a fellow investor, right? In the industry, we learn from each other. I know I learned a ton from you as well. And so I always love sharing ideas, and I learn from each other, and we both grow.
Yeah, man. I love the energy and I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I kind of spoke offline, but you've been doing this for 20 years?
Yep. Yeah. So I got started in 2002 after I got laid off from my IT job, back during the .com days. And yeah, since then I've done all kinds of deals. I've done a lot of wholesale, a lot of fix and flipping. When the market crashed back in 2008, I had 30 rehabs going on at different stages of that rehab. So I got hit pretty hard during the last market crash. And but yeah, just like a lot of entrepreneurs, we bounce back from that, we learn from that, we grow from that. Yeah, I've been blessed. I've probably done well over 1,000 deals now, throughout the years. In the last, I would say, 3 years, was when I transitioned over to the land side of the business. So I'm not doing any more fix and flip. I'm completely out of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do a lot of land flips, land investing, land entitlements. So we are in Houston Metro, and then we recently expanded into the Dallas and some Austin area as well.
Well, welcome to the dark side, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
Land side. So, dude, why don't we start right there real quick? Why did you stop doing like cash flowing assets like houses, right? Because cash flow. So what would possess you to get into land?
Yeah. So it was actually completely accidental. What happened was I was at that time I was buying a house and then do an addition, turn into a duplex. And then the remodeling for those, the construction, they're pretty hefty. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do this much, I'm going to spend, over $100,000 just to remodel and do the additions, I should look into building new. So I ended up I bought a house that has 3 lots next to it. I bought another house that has 2 lots next to it. And then while I was, remodeling the houses to turn them into duplexes, COVID came, and, the whole construction business got slowed down a lot during that time. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting on these lots. Let me see if I can sell these lots and get some cash flow. So I ended up selling the lots. Long story short, after I finished the house and everything, I made more money on those lots than I did on the house. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have to deal with like evicting tenants, city permits, all of that stuff. All I did was just resell those lots. I'm like, okay, I should get into lots. And then I got on one of John Alexander's call, and like on the first 5 minutes or so, he said that, one of the best lists when it comes to land is out of state owners. I was like, okay, that's all I needed to know. So I got off, I got off the call, pulled an out of state owner list, and boom, we did. Gosh, the first year in land, yeah, we did probably over $700,000 with that strategy. So I'm like, this is no brainer. Yeah.
It's crazy to hear because you're not the first person to say that. Like I was doing houses, and then I actually fell into land and made more money than all the houses. So you're not the first person to tell us that. So it's kind of funny to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, even when I sold those lots at that time, like looking back now, it's like, I mean, I should have sell them for a lot more than I did. So even at the price I did sell them at, and made good money on them, they were still under market because at that time I didn't know what all to do yet. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday on a podcast. That you can't count the dollars looking backwards. If we look at everything we missed out on, like, dang, if I known what I know now.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to John Alexander. He's hanging out with us right now. Boom. Yeah, man. John's paving the way for a lot of people to get into the land game, man. The Land Mogul on Instagram.
Yeah, I've followed John for a long time, even with his lease purchase stuff back in the old days. So yeah, so John been a long time mentor of mine, sure.
Yeah, we met him on Clubhouse about roughly almost 2 years ago. Yeah, and yeah, he's done a lot for us, and he's put a lot of knowledge on the table, and yeah, he's always helping people. He's helped a lot of HiveMind people get deals. And he's been with HiveMind since the beginning. Yeah, so we love John. He's an icon.
Yep, cool, he is.
So I don't know if you want to talk about this later, if you want to go a little bit into what you're doing now in land, how your operations are running. I want to talk to you about capital raising at some point, because we're getting to the point to where if we had a little bit of excess capital laying around, we can make some miracles right now. So
right. Yeah, we definitely can talk about that. So, in my business model, we acquire a lot of these land. Sometimes we use our own money, but a lot of times we use private money to actually close on them. And then, we would list them on the MLS. We're able to get more dollars out of it that way. And, we're not really a rush to sell, right? Because we already close on it. And so that gives us time, that gives us more ability to negotiate with buyers. And yeah, in terms of, raising money, especially, depending on the size of the deal, but typically if it's $1 million or less, finding private lenders to fund a deal like that is fairly easy. If you ever done, the people listening, I mean, if you ever done fix and flips, you're familiar with that hard money lending type industry, right? Type business. And so a lot of those private lenders, they're used to lending on houses. They're not that used to lending on land. But if you've done some deals with them and they trust you, they'll go wherever you want to go. I mean, they have that level of trust. So that's what I did. I started talking to my private lenders from all the house flips I've done, and told them, hey, I'm getting into land now. We have different types. That we have the infill lots, which are very easy to do. We comp them just like the way we do houses. So the loan on them is very straightforward, nothing much. And then some of the lands that we do that's a little bit more raw, harder to comp. But I can certainly just start you with the easy ones, so that way you get familiar with it. And then when we get a bigger deal that is not as easy to come, at least now you know how the business works. And so I have those kind of conversations with them. Some say yes, some says no. It's not a big deal. You just having a conversation with more people. If you don't have any private lenders, you certainly can talk to some hard money lenders. Some will do that. Hard money lenders tend to be more expensive, a little bit less flexible. But some of them have a lot of money, so they certainly can do it. They'll every hard money lender is a little bit different, but they'll want to see your credit. They'll want to see that you have some money in the bank account for reserves. And yeah, a friend of mine has a 55 acres in Nacogdoches, and he's looking to buy it and subdivide it into 11 acre lots. Mm-hmm. And so he asked me, hey Tim, do you know anybody that would loan on this, so that way I can buy it and do the subdivide. And I hook him up with a hard money lender, and yeah, I mean they're willing to lend on it, and so yeah, those lenders definitely exist. But I would say private lenders is probably among the easiest, especially for a lot of the land deals. Now, if you're doing bigger deals where you're going to do development and stuff, The kind of capital raising I do these days are syndications for commercial real estate, apartment buildings. Typically, they're 10 million plus type properties, and so you are having to raise a lot more money. So you pull, instead of one person, let's say one person gives you 100,000, you might have 10 people or 100 people each give you 100,000. That's what a syndication does. And so, yeah, you don't really need to worry about syndications until you do much bigger deals. Like I have a couple of deals right now that I'm looking to do land development on. So I've closed them with private lenders when I bought them, and I'm going through the process right now to get them rezoned, getting bids for civil engineers and all of that stuff that we need to do to then. One of them I'm doing a mixed use, so commercial in the front, multifamily in the back. Another one that's going to be a build to rent subdivision, probably around 100 lots or so there. So in a case like that, I am using private money to buy it. I'm using my own money to get it to entitlement phase. Entitlement is basically where you get the rezone and all of the approval in place. And then once that is done, then I'm doing a syndication to raise money to then do the actual development. So as you can see, there's different stages of how you can fundraise for these deals.
Man, that's amazing, dude. So I've never put together syndication, but that's so funny that you said that because I've never heard you say it before. But I was going to text you just a couple of days ago. I was like, oh, I got to call this guy. I was going to ask you if you can do that and how that works. So is it pretty simple to go into a little bit of it of how putting that together or?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it's not something that you can do the document on your own, right? So you do have to hire an SEC attorney to do it. Costs about $15,000 to do the document. So it's called a private placement memorandum. And basically it's a document. It's like 100-page documents that explain who's going to get paid what, who are all part of the transaction. So it spells out all the legalese, right? Because it's syndication is similar to selling a security. Let's say if you have a company, like a public company, for example, and they raise a bunch of money from the public, and so they're selling securities. And so that's what syndication is. Syndication is just like a much smaller transaction than taking a company public, but the process is very similar. And so syndications, different from private money, is this: with a private, hard money, private money, that's a loan. So someone's loaning you money for you to buy that property, and you're paying them an interest, on that money. Syndication is they are investing in your company, so they get shares of your company. Basically, and so it's not a loan, so they get equity, whatever the equity split is. It's very common that people will do either an 80-20 split. What that means is the money partners get 80% of the deal, the general partner who's running the deal gets 20% of the deal. There's other fees that the general partner can charge in that, but that's a common structure. They are more complicated structure, like someone would do, say, a prep of a preferred interest of, let's just say, 6%, plus they're gonna get 50% of the deal on the back end. So they get a little bit of interest and they get equity position. So there's a lot of ways to structure a syndication, but those are some of the common ways that people do it. And yeah, it's just, in terms of the actual, but outside of the document itself, raising money from the people is very similar. It's just that you don't have one private lender to deal with, right? You have however many, depending on the deal. Like I said, let's say you're trying to raise $1 million. If you have a private lender that loan you that whole $1 million, you only have one person to deal with. But in a syndication, most likely, each person's going to invest 100,000 with you. And so now you have 10 people that you have to work with. But it's scalable. It allows you, when people are, $1 million is not a big deal, but when you're doing $10 million deal, $100 million deals, then you need that scalability that a private lender, it's very hard to find a private lender that will write a check for 10 million or 100 million unless they're big institutional players. But no, yeah, no, normal private lenders you're probably not gonna find that. So you do have to pull, a bunch of people together to invest into your deal, for you to do the deal.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna have to have that conversation and continue that conversation, I guess, another day when we're not on the show. But I know I sent Tim one that was 80 million. He's like, yeah, send me the paperwork. I'm gonna take a look at it. Might have somebody. He wants to play that game. All right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I'm excited about that. It just dawned on me. Yeah.
Like, I know you jokingly about it, but you'd be so surprised this is how it works. Like when we're playing with houses, we're playing with tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, right? Mm-hmm. And for us, like, oh, that's normal. Like we speak that language, right? But let's say I have my son who's 18 years old that I'm training in the business. He did his first land flip actually in Fifth Ward here in Houston. Nice. But for someone like him, for example, right? When you're talking 100,000, a million, like for him, that number could be really big.
Yeah.
But right, and so it works the same thing for us because we're so used to dealing in the $100,000 range. When talking about tens of millions, 100 millions, it seems so really big. But once you start getting into that space and you get to meet the players that play in that space, it's like, oh, it's nothing. It's just another connection that you gotta find that plays in that space. So, I say that to say, like, if you guys run across big deals, like, you don't have to get scared about it. Just know that there are someone out there doing those big deals, and all you need is just that connection to get a hold of that someone, and it becomes a normal deal for you. So
awesome, man. Yeah, thanks. That words of wisdom. So that's kind of where we're headed next. We're looking at some deals right now, 33 million, 80 million, 20 million. And even though we haven't completed that kind of transaction, I keep saying the same thing. It's like, I'm just glad to like sit at those tables and have those conversations and be on, Zoom with those people like yourself. So exciting, man. Exciting. I'm gonna keep sending you like that.
Yeah, definitely.
You spot a winner.
So as far as when you're raising private capital, are you looking for? You have to find accredited investors always, and what's the strategy how that works? Because a lot of people might not understand that space.
Yeah. So if you're talking about private capital, there's two different kind, right? So when I'm saying private money, just to give some distinction here. So if I'm referring to private money, I'm referring to a private lender similar to a hard money lender that lends on fix and flip. Okay. So those people, no, they don't have to be accredited investors at all. They're just they're just one person. They are not buying a security in your company. They're loaning the money to you. So the law is a lot easier on those type of deals. And so that could be anything. That could be anyone. My very first private lender when I first started out was my sister. I knew that she had some money sitting in a CD. In case you guys don't know what a CD is, they're not very popular these days anymore, but they used to be a lot more popular. Certificate of deposits that banks give out. They pay very little. I think at that time she was earning about 1%, interest on her money. And I was like, well, you have this money in the CD, it's only getting you 1%. I can give you at least 3 times that. So I give you 3%. So that's a private, that's an example of a private lender, right? And then when you get over to the syndication side, there are different types of syndications. There are getting into legalese here, but you guys don't worry too much about it. But there's a Regulation D 506B that will allow up to 35 non-accredited investors. And so the only thing about the 506B is that you can't publicly advertise that deal, and so it has to be people that you have personal relationships with, the SEC goes into all of like how many touches you have and stuff that goes beyond this call. But the point being is that if you want to raise money from non-accredited investors, 506B. You have to have relationships with them already, like your friends, family. You can talk to them about that deal, and there's no minimum.
You be like, hey, grandma, can I borrow $1 million, $2 million?
Yeah. Of course. You have the deal, we have the money. That's how it works.
Hang on, Mijo. I'll write you a check right now.
Yeah. So yeah, so in a 506B, there's no minimum. Like you can do as low as you want, but you don't want it too low because then you would need a lot more people that you need to raise money from, right? So let's say you're trying to raise $1 million. If each person invests 100,000, that's only 10 people you have to deal with. If each person invests 10,000, that's 100 people you have to deal with, right? So
do they all get so in the deal? Everybody that puts in money, or are they like silent partners, or are they active?
Yeah. So they're silent partners. They're called limited partners, which is completely silent. They don't have voting rights or anything like that. And so that's a 506B. 506C, that's for accredited investors only. So what that means is basically they have roughly about $1 million net worth, and you can advertise that type of investment publicly. You don't have to have prior relationship with them. So if you see any ads on Facebook that's raising money, typically that's a 506C, and they're raising money from accredited investors.
Powerful information.
Appreciate the clarification too, because
Nice.
like I said, I know a little bit, but not a lot, and that even helped me a little bit. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So if anybody wants to partner with you, do they just send you a deal directly? Do you have somewhere they can send it to? They say, hey, I have some land. I think you should take a look at this.
Yeah, they can certainly hit me up directly. I'm pretty active on Messenger, especially. Active on Facebook, and so yeah, certainly send it. And then the way it works is that if it's a normal kind of deal that my team are used to, I'll pass it over to my team. They'll handle all of that. But if it's a more, if it's a bigger deal, more complicated deal, then I'll personally dig deeper into those type of deals.
Okay, awesome, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about the fundraising aspect of putting some of these bigger deals together, because like it kind of goes beyond where seller finance isn't going to work anymore, and available capital on hand, even if you liquidated everything you had, isn't going to work anymore. So yeah, you need to get some other people involved in some of these.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're going to get into like bigger subdivides, right? If you're going to buy, 100 acres or a few hundred acres, and you're going to subdivide, those bigger deals. Generally speaking, I think that, there's no, technically there's no size limit, but it's rare that I see someone that does a syndication for a deal that less than $5 million. It's because, like I said, the document costs you 15 grand to create. So it's just for the document. And so there's cost involved in doing syndications. And so typically people do it on bigger deals. And then if it's smaller deals, they'll either use private money or they'll do joint ventures. So they'll bring on a money partner, maybe 1, 2, 3 partners that come on, pool money together. So that's more common on smaller deals. But yeah, when you're ready to do the much bigger deals, syndication is a very common way of doing it. And the law got easier since about 10 years ago. And so that's why now you see it's such a common place of people doing syndications now.
Yeah, I got a bunch of deals in my brain cycling through right now. I'm like, we need to look at this one. We need to look at this one. It just opens up so many more doors.
It does for sure. Yeah. So now it's like, now I'm not afraid of looking at bigger deals. I know you guys know, but I've been interviewing a lot of guys on my own show. A lot of guys I've interviewed, they've raised over 100 million. What that means is typically they've done over $500 million in business. And yeah, the deal size that they're talking about, it's huge. It blows my mind away. And it's they talk about like it's nothing. It's like it's just another zero, and you raise more money for more people, and that's it.
What are you learning? Like, what are the main takeaways you're learning from interviewing people like that? Because I've seen you interviewing some whales on there.
Yeah. I would say the biggest takeaway is it's just another number. Like it's just another zero. Like we tend, and me personally, I've been in real estate for 20 years now, most of which has been in single family home space. And the reason is because for the longest time, I just said to myself, it's like, oh, these apartment deals, these bigger commercial deals, they're too difficult. They're too big. I'm comfortable with these little houses that I know what to do. I can do it with my eyes closed. And so like I have this limiting belief that I can't do these big deals. They're more complicated. Well, the truth is, now that I'm in it, it's it's so far from the truth of the way I used to look at it. With these big deals, it's almost never that you find one person doing this whole big deal all by themselves. It just doesn't exist. So it's a very in this bigger deal space. It's a very teamwork. So you generally have several people that come together, and they might be business partners in a specific business, or it could be like you have your own business, I have my own business, but we found a deal and we come in and do the deals together. And then let's say you handle all the acquisition, I'm going to handle all the capital raising, and then Daniel's going to handle all the development, so it's a very teamwork type of environment. And that's the reason why it's not a big thing to do these big deals, is because you're not by yourself. You're not trying to do it all on your own. You have a whole team that's going to come together. And some of these deals where, let's say, I see a syndicator needs to raise $100 million on just one deal, using that as an example. What happens is that the person who might be in charge of that deal, they're not the only person raising money for that deal. There might be 10 or even 20 entities behind that's all coming together to raise money for this big big deal. And so it's all about teamwork. It's not about like individual work. Even if all you can raise is $1 million, let's use that as an example. Let's say it's like, okay, if you can exhaust all of your whole network, you can raise $1 million. But because you can raise $1 million, you can be in with one of the 20, 50 guys that's gonna raise that whole $100 million. And so so it's the business is very built on teamwork, which makes everything so much easier. You don't have to be an expert of anything. Very different from the single family home space, where you kind of have to be an expert of everything, because the deal is so small. There's not enough profit to go around for you to have that many partnerships and for you to have super smart partners. But in these bigger deals, there's a lot more money to go around, and so you attract the top players that comes in and partner together to take these deals down.
Well, what's crazy about that is that a lot of people, like, they want to keep their business small and wear every hat, and like, I can do it the best out of anybody I want. And the crazy part about it is the bigger you get, the easier it becomes, because you can always outsource and find the right people to help you do what you need to do.
Yeah, so exactly.
The term of scalability, the larger you get. So everybody out there thinking small, you need to think bigger.
Yep. Yeah.
I think you're the one that helped push that button in my brain, Tim. Is I called you one day and I was talking to you about some of the deals I was doing, and we're just kind of sharing back and forth. It's like, yeah, I'm working on one right now that's 60 million, and I was like, then why am I working on these little ones? So it's cool I think that's probably something that I've enjoyed the most, even more than like the dollars and cents about these deals, is the people that you meet, the connection. You said the quality of people, like the ideas that they have, just personality types. It's like people are very laid back, very calm, right? Because there's things have the potential to go very well if you can stay level-headed, stay helpful, stay humble. And that's what I'm realizing, is that sitting at these tables, hopping on these phone calls, hopping on these Zooms, these people are the people that you'd want to be around anyway. Super helpful, super humble, super connected. And I think that's cool, man. That's something that I've been enjoying more than anything else, is the relationships that we're making.
Yeah, me too, for sure. And for some reason, this industry, and for the lack of better term, I'm calling it, the big deals industry. that can include land, it can include apartment, commercial real estate. But I found that most people in this industry are very collaborative type. Like, that's just the way they run the business. I think it's the industry kind of forced them to think that way. And so, it's been phenomenal. I love the people that I've been interacting with and meeting with, like you mentioned. The people I've been interviewing, I mean, gosh, they blow my mind away all the time.
So can you talk about the Capital Raising Summit? What is that? And who's your general people that you want to come?
Yeah, so basically it's about how to raise capital for big deals. a lot of people who are coming are syndicators. They're raising money for apartments, commercial real estate, land development. We also have some fund managers that are coming as well. One of the family office, and that's a whole new different level of individuals. Family office. The gentleman I'm talking to later on today, he's coming. His company, his family office. So family office is basically when you are an ultra wealthy family, you pull money together as a family, and then you hire a like a financial advisor to help your family invest that money. Okay, so you see that a lot with like the Rockefeller family. They probably have the biggest family office, and so anyways, one gentleman that's coming and he runs a family office. They've done over $15 billion worth of real estate. Crazy. Yeah. So crazy numbers like that. And yeah, so he's coming, and so it's a lot of people that are there are in the commercial real estate space, people that need to raise a lot of money. So yeah, so if you guys want to learn how to raise a lot of money, come. It is a more advanced crowd. So if you're looking like how to get started in real estate, a lot of that's going to go over your head because it's a more complicated topic. But yeah, if you're already in real estate and you want to learn how to raise money, it's definitely a room to be in.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one thing. There's always different types of, and that's why I really wanted to ask that direct question, because if you're new, don't go there. You're gonna miss a lot of stuff. It's not gonna really stick, but it's more for advanced people that are already wanting to get in that space, or already in that space, that you can network and meet other people in that
exactly
space.
Yeah, the network's gonna be crazy. Like, yeah, the caliber in the room is just insane.
I was gonna say, what is the quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
I just heard this quote this morning. Actually, I was listening to Marianne Williamson, she's a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and she said this: worry is praying for bad things to happen. And because as entrepreneurs, I don't know about you guys, but I get anxiety all the time. And so I'm like constantly having to meditate and listen to these, to help me. But when I heard that, it's like that. I mean, it makes so much sense, right? Because what is a worry? A worry is us thinking about something that hasn't happened yet, that's out there in the future, and we're thinking negatively about it. So it's like it is like dreaming about something bad's going to happen. And so yeah, that was a really good quote. Not anything has to do with business, but if you're like me, if you're a worrier, if you get anxiety, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, if you're not growing and stretching and pushing yourself, then you have no stress, you have no worry. But if you're always pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, yeah, you're going to have it. I'll tell you something that helped me a lot was getting rid of caffeine, because I was just going through cups and cups of coffee, not thinking about it, feeling great, plenty of energy. But I was like, why in the hell am I worried like so often? Like, what is it? And so once I eliminated the caffeine completely, I feel like at least 50%, 75% of it went away. And then I added CrossFit, and that's helping too. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, coffee does different things for different people, but yeah, it does give me anxiety attacks.
Some days I drink, I feel like $1 million, and then some days I drink it and I just start I start highlighting all the little negative things that are going on, and like, man, why did I do it? I should have did this, and like, why am I thinking about this? Who cares? Yeah, I identified the problem and got rid of it. So that's cool. I love that quote, and I need to reread A Course in Miracles. It's probably been 15 years since I picked that book up.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Can you recommend a business book in general that you like?
A business book that I like. I mean, it depends, on if you're looking for mindset stuff or more tactical stuff. But I love books that has around to do with mindset. I know, Rich Dad Poor Dad made a big difference for me. It shifted my mind a lot when I first started as an entrepreneur. I like books like Mini Habits, Atomic Habits. Talk about like little habits that you do. I like books that are Miracle Morning is really good too. I go through different phases in my journey where, okay, I'll take one discipline or one practice. I'll go all in with that practice, whether that's meditation or that's journaling, or so I don't, and probably has to do with my personality type too. I find myself, I'll do something for a few months, and then I'll go and try something new for another few months, and I'll do it in stages like that. Versus, I know some people, they have the same routine that they do every single day, right? Like they're gonna, meditate, journal, read, like every single day. They do it that way. My personality just doesn't work that way, and so I have to change it around. I went through a period of time where I even shaved my head. I'm like, I just need to do something different. And so yeah, but yeah, I mean, Anthony, you're talking about like, CrossFit, stuff like that. Gosh, like mental health is a real thing. Mental illness is a real thing, right? And so as entrepreneurs, because of how much we have to do, and the amount of, like, even here at my office, right? I have so many staff I have to take care of, and their families, and in the Philippines, I have tons of VAs, so I have tons of family I have to take care of. And so yeah, like we deal with a different level of stress than normal people do it. And so we do have to stay on top of all the mental health that we could possibly equip ourselves with, right? Whether that's, meditation or these mindset books, or CrossFit exercise, those are all good. So I mean, they're not exactly business, but they do more good for your business than any tactical stuff you could do in your business.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing, man. I said that recently. I said, I'm a better business person when I'm going to CrossFit, because I went several years ago for several years in a row. And I remember like how like invincible I felt, and everything always went my way. Everything was easy, meetings, sales, super, super easy. And then I started to injure this shoulder. I didn't hurt it, but I need to lay off of it. So I stopped going for a few years. And I was wondering, like, things are going amazing, but I was like, I feel like I'm better at business than this. Like, what's going on here? And now I've been back for like 5 months, and man, dude, I feel amazing. I feel like I'm knocking down walls again. And it's like, it directly correlates with me like pushing myself. And it's like, I think it's all the extra oxygen in your body, sweating out all those toxins, but then also like you have time to think, putting myself first. Yeah. So I'm at the gym every day at 9. First things first. I have no meetings before noon at all. 0. Like family and gym first. And then after that, then we'll go ahead and start knocking out the rest of the stuff for the day. And then I'm good to work till midnight. But yeah, you're right, man. If you don't take care of your mental health, this business it'll kick your butt.
Yep, it sure will.
Yeah, I see my kids, and they're happy and they're smiling, they're loving life, the wife, everything. And then I'm just thinking, like, I wonder if they ever think about how hard I have it.
Nobody knows our pain but us.
Like that guy Atlas, one that's carrying the globe, right? Carrying the whole world. Yep. Yeah, and for them, everything's super cool and super easy and fun. And I'm over here like, dang, I gotta go to CrossFit just so my head doesn't explode. I was gonna say that too about meditation. I wake up in the morning, and first things first is just pray and just go by myself and get away from everything. No music, no lights, no cell phone. And I try to do it every day, but it's probably 3 days a week, right? But it helps tremendously. Yeah, it helps you calm the storm and put things into perspective. But I think between those two tools have probably been the most powerful tools that I found in business. And it's not even business related.
Yeah, no, that's good. And one of the things you mentioned, because I know some of us, we deal with like wanting to consume a lot of information, right? Read a lot of books. I went through periods where I went through an entire year without consuming any new content. So like, wow. I wouldn't read books. I wouldn't watch YouTube videos. I would only self-generate content. So, yeah. And so it was pretty tough to go through mentally, but I mean, you're like, you're so much more creative than you give yourself to. All of us. I mean, the truth is that if we just run our business based on our intuition, we'll do just fine without any outside information. Like, for some reason, intuitively, we know what to do. We know what our business needs, but a lot of times we don't trust ourselves enough. And so we're trying to learn strategies and tactics from other people. But yeah, if you're the type of person who consume a lot of content, it might be a good exercise for you to do the opposite, which is not consume any content and only self-generate content, and almost like coaching yourself through it. So yeah, so during that time, I went on a lot of walks where I just turn on my phone recorder and just talk, like I'm just talking to myself. And that was really good exercise.
Dude, another powerful tip, dude. That's so freaking amazing. I forgot about that. So I would do it for like, I've never done a year, but I've done weeks and months at a time where no music, no YouTube, no nothing, no books, nothing at all. Yeah, just me and myself. And yeah, you're right. I mean, some of your best inspirations come during those periods. It's like an information detox.
Because exactly.
Yeah, you're trying to learn new things over and over and over again, and you get overload. And it's like even the new information is not even helpful anymore. Right. But I think for people that are entrepreneurial, that you're trying to push yourself to grow, push your business to grow, that's something that you're going to do. You're going to end up with an information overload. So you need to do an information detox. That's powerful.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Like, you know, I earlier on at the beginning of the show, I share my what, you know, how I got started with land, right? Like I got on the call. I heard John share about just one tip. This is the list. And I got off the call. Like there was no more information, just implementation. Like that's a very important skill set you want to, you know, especially if you're out there and you're having challenges doing your first deal or just having challenges doing deals at all. And you know, stopping the information and focusing on implementation is super, super important.
Beautiful, man, dude. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up right here. This was an amazing show. Tons and tons of knowledge and gems. I'm going to have to listen to this one a few times. If you came in late, guys, as soon as this is over, go back to the beginning and press play. This was amazing. Yeah, I bet this one's going to get a ton of views. Lots of information, lots of power in this conversation.
We appreciate your time, Tim. And like I said, I look forward to everything that you do and like helping us out in the future. And we'll see what damage we can do with the deals we have coming up.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I should be in Houston next week, I think. So, man, would love to sit down, grab some lunch, and talk a little bit, get some deals in front of you that we're working on and looking at right now. See if we can spark some new ideas.
Let's do it.
Awesome, man. Thank you, dude. This was super fun, super amazing. We appreciate you for coming on.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, everyone.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the Skip Trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.